Hey everyone, Chris Mattson here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do master modeling in Solidworks. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm starting this video with a completed model of the outside shape of a hairdryer. You can see the hairdryer here. This is fully 100% surfaces. There is zero thickness on everything, and this is the basic outside shape. Now we created this outside shape by bringing in a sketch picture for the Harry Josh hairdryer, and that's how we got as far as we did right now. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this as a master model to create a left side, a right side, a cone, and a strain relief. And I'm gonna show you how to do that. First thing I wanna point out though is that in my master model, I have not only the outside shape of the product the way that I want it to be, but I have also drawn what is going to be the separation between the left and the right side, as you can see here. And I've also drawn the lines that represent the division between the strain relief, which is at the bottom, and the rest of the hairdryer, which is up above. Now we would otherwise need a division between the nozzle and everything else, but when we made this model, we actually made them as two different surfaces, so there's already a natural division between them, as you can see right there. All right, now in addition to this, I have taken these lines, which are the representations of how the product is split apart, and I have created extruded surfaces through them. They just happen to be hidden right now. I have these extruded surfaces going through them, and these surfaces are there because they're going to be cut planes in my actual parts. So this is what I want for my master model. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right units, IPS. First thing I'm going to do when I do master modeling is I take the thing that I want, which may or may not be solids or surfaces. I've chosen to do mine with surfaces. And I'm going to take this thing that I want and I'm going to put it into a brand new assembly. So I'm going to make an assembly from this part. And this is the part that we just looked at, and it's now in the assembly. I'm now going to be organized and clean up some stuff, make sure that I'm in IPS. I'm going to come over here and save this thing as, what were we calling this a second ago? This is the master modeling demo assembly. It's important when you're doing master modeling to make sure all your file naming is good and stuff, because with master modeling, what you're basically doing is linking a bunch of files together. So this is not a spot where you want to be careless in terms of how you're naming things and such. Okay, so I now have this single part in my system, in my assembly. What I want to do is insert a component, and I want to insert a brand new part, one that does not exist yet. And I need to figure out what this is going to be called. HD MM demo left side. Okay, so we're going to do our left side first. Down at the bottom here, it says select the face or plane onto which to position the new part. Let me actually make those planes visible. And I am going to choose that front plane. There we go. And now it's popped the planes just all nice to go with that. So I'm going to accept that's where I want that to be. I'm now editing this brand new part, which you can tell by this icon that's in the right view. This means I'm editing a part. Also, you can tell because the name in the tree is blue. That means I'm editing just that, but I'm editing it in the assembly. And this is one of the main tricks with the master modeling technique. I'm going to create features now in this new part, and I'm going to make those features be features that are in the master model, right? In the thing that we see on the screen right now. And so how am I going to do that? I'm going to use surfaces, and I'm going to copy surfaces from my existing model into my new part. I'm going to do that with offset surface. And if I set the offset distance to 0, you can see the name offset gets changed to copy. Oh, that's right up here, actually. Now I'm copying surfaces. And from my left side, the surfaces that I need are this and this, and I need this for the left side, and these things. And what else do I need for the left side? I only need that stuff for the left side. But I need to bring my cut planes in as well, because they're going to be used to slice up my model. So I'm bringing these ones in. Okay, and all of these are now going to become part of this model, HD MM demo left side. Now, if I click on this thing, it means I'm done editing that part. I'm going to come in here and save this because, remember, we're linking files, so everything has to be nice and clean and beautiful. There is this little stoplight thing, which means it needs to be rebuilt, or it would be beneficial to be rebuilt, so I just did that and hit save again. Now, if I wanted to see what my new part looks like, I can hide the master model, and this is what we have in the new part. And we can unhide it. But we don't want to mess with that part here. We want to just open this brand new part to work on it, which we're going to do now. So we right click on this, come in here to open part. And my part's not showing, but that's partially because of my graphics card or something else. I've found that if I hit rebuild right when it comes in, I get to see the thing. So now I am in the left side part, and now I get to create the features of the left side. And what I'm going to do is slice off the right side. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is slice off the strain relief. I think that will be slightly better. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, I'm going to do a bunch of trimming, and I am going to use that as my trim surface. I was expecting that to come in as not one giant surface. Let's see what happens with this. We might run into a little bit of trouble, which is going to make me a little bit sad, but we're just going to keep going on this. All right, now what we're going to try to do is I want to see if I can trim off this front piece. So I'm going to trim off this front piece. This is going to be my cut plane, and this is not what I wanted. Got the wrong thing in here. Clear this. This is my cut plane, and the stuff I want to get rid of is this, and I want to get rid of this. Okay, so now we're ending up closer to having just this left side. Okay, now what I need to do is come in and do a little bit of trimming on this so that I can make all my trims happen just right. Trim surface, let's use this as the cut plane, or the trim surface, and let's get rid of this piece. Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to come in here to this guy and just hide it so I don't have to see it. And I want to come in and trim up this area. Trim surface. This is going to be my boundary that I'm trimming against. This is the stuff I want to remove. And that's great. We are close to having our part the way that we want it to. This is the part, but it has no thickness at this point. So we're going to try to thicken it. And to thicken it, first thing we're going to do is we're going to knit the thing together. So I'm going to grab the knit surface. I'm going to grab all of this stuff. I'm going to tell it to merge entities and go. We got a knit. Now we're going to take this knit and we're going to thicken it. And this is not giving me a preview, which makes me sort of sad. We are also in millimeters, which is not cool. So let's fix this. We should have been slightly more organized in our part creation. All right. Now we're going to take and thicken, and we're going to pick the thing that we want to thicken, and that's giving me a preview, which is beautiful. I don't know why it wasn't before, but I want this to be 40 thousandths of an inch thick. And now I have my thickened part. This is 40 thousandths of an inch thick everywhere. And actually, I'm realizing right now that before I do this, I actually want to go add in a few fillets. So that's easy to do. I'm going to come right back up here before this knit. Actually, I'm not going to come up before the knit. I'm going to come right below the knit, and I'm going to add in some fillets. Let's add a fillet onto this, and let's make this 200 thousandths of an inch. Great. Let's actually add the same size fillet right here, 200 thousandths of an inch. Excellent. Let's go get some fillets in on these parts, right in here. Okay, that's pretty giant. I probably don't want it to be that giant. Let's make it to be 100 thousandths of an inch. Okay, why that line is off from the center, I have no idea. It's a little bit weird. It's probably a problem in there, but I don't have time to think about that. Okay, because we suppressed our thicken, we're just working in surfaces right now. Okay, and this is where our strain relief goes, so we don't want to put a fillet in this area. That's where the strain relief is going to match up. Let's see what happens if we do the thicken now. See if it will compute. And it did. So now we have 40 thousandths of an inch thick everywhere for our left side. We're going to save this. Save. Okay, we're going to jump back into our MM demo assembly. Okay. And right now we've got in here our master model plus the part we just made, which is a thickened part. Excellent. So we're going to come back in here, unhide this. To keep our lives just simple for a few minutes, I'm going to hide this one. And we're going to now do the same thing with the front. So we're going to insert a new component. It's a new part. It's going to be called right side instead of left side. Right side. It's going to ask me the face or plane that I want to orient the thing onto. I'm going to orient it onto that. And my new thing is there. Going to accept that. And now I'm editing, because I see this icon and the thing is blue, I'm editing the right side. And we're just going to repeat what we did before. I'm going to go to surfaces. I'm going to go to offset. I'm going to set my offset to 0, which it's already at because it remembered what I did last time. I'm going to take this and I'm going to take this. And I don't need anything else for the front, for the body, but I do need to bring in my slicing planes, which are these ones. Okay, and this one that's down here. So that's going to do it for what we need. That's great. At this point, I can jump out of this. I can also save. Save. Now I can come in here. Let's rebuild, because remember that rebuild thing is showing up there. I'm going to now open my right side. And again, just repeat what we did before. Hit the rebuild so that my graphics card will deal with it. And we're going to trim. Okay, it's going to be our trim plane. And we want to get rid of this. And we want to get rid of this. And frankly, let's do that. I kind of feel like I have to do the strain relief first, but I'm going to try it this way. Okay, that stuff has gone away now. Let's cut out the strain relief portion of this. See, it might not allow me to cut this away now, but let's see. Trim. This is going to be my stuff. I don't want any of this. Let me get rid of that. And that is excellent. So, because of the way a strain relief works, I want to be sort of solid down in this area inside this arc. So I am going to have to do just a little bit of trimming, more trimming to get us there. This is going to be my trim thing, and I don't want this one. So get rid of that. Great. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hide this, which lets us see the inside. Now I'm going to trim again, taking this. Okay, first of all, I'm not doing this the way I want to. I want this thing and this to be the trim entities. Great. So now this is my front. And I now need to knit and put a fillet in here so it matches the fillet we had in the other spot. And then we will try to thicken. I say try to thicken because it's always a challenge on whether we've done it right and whether it's gonna work or not. Okay, I'm not sure what this square bracket means right here, but we're gonna go with this for a second. Okay, now that we have knit, we can put in a fillet, which we would not be allowed to do if we had not first knit. So first of all, we're still in the wrong units, which is not cool. So I'm just gonna take that as a giant 1 for a second. We're gonna switch over here to IPS, which is where we should have been. I'm gonna save this because I like to save when I change units and stuff like that. We're gonna come in here and edit this, and we wanna be 40 thousandths. So basically a tenth of, actually not 40 thousandths, we wanna be 200 thousandths is what I think we said before. Yeah, 200 thousandths. Okay, excellent. So now we are going to thicken this, and we want this to be, this is the one that we want to be 40 thousandths. What I didn't check to see was whether I was thickening outward or thickening inward. So if I go back to this thicken command for a second and edit it, that's what these buttons represent right here. So if we zoom in, oh my, it looks like we are, okay, we actually want to thicken inward. This one's thickening outward. We want to thicken inward, and I might need to go back and switch up my first one that we made. Okay, so that one's been thickened inward. And I want to thicken inward only because I defined the outside shape of the Hairy Josh hairdryer when I was creating my master model. So now I need to have that master model define the outside shape, not the inside shape. Okay, so now we're going to jump over to our demo assembly, and we're going to see that these are, I believe we are going to see that these are, one was thickened outwards and one was thickened inwards, I think, though it does not look like that. So let's go into this and hide these cut planes, which are these ones, for a second. Okay, good. Those have matched up nicely. So I guess we got lucky with which way it was going, whether it was thickening outward or whether it was thickening inward. So what we need to do now is go get the strain relief stuff and then work over here. So I'm going to have to turn on these extrudes again. Actually, this is the only extrude I need to turn on so that I can pull that into the model. I'm going to hide out the left side and the right side. Just right-clicking on those and telling them I want to hide. And now we're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to create a brand new part, and that part I'm going to create is my strain relief. Okay, so now we're going to insert new part. And this one is going to be the HD underscore MM underscore demo underscore SR for strain relief. And this wants to know the same thing. What face am I going to put the thing on? I'm going to use the same face we've used for everything else. I'm going to tell it that that's what I want. Now I'm editing this brand new part, which is my strain relief. And I want to go into surfaces, offset surface, set my offset surface to 0. I want to get this surface. And I want to get this surface. And I need my cut planes, so that's this one, and this one. So those are going to be copied in. I'm done with this. This time I'm going to rebuild before I save, since I didn't do that the last few times. I'm going to save all of those. Now I'm going to come in here to my strain relief. I'm going to open my part. I have to rebuild so I can see it. And now I am going to just keep this bottom part portion of things. All right, so let's do some trimming. Okay, using this, I want to remove this. Great. Now we're going to trim using, let's actually clear that. Using this, I now want to remove that. Great. Now we're going to do something different than we did before. I'm not going to thicken this, and I'm not going to thicken it because that's not how strain reliefs are made. Strain reliefs are made a little bit differently. They're just injected solid, okay? Plus, we're going to probably have some trouble thickening up in this area, okay? Because it's like a fine point. So I'm not going to worry about that right now, though. But in order to turn this into a solid, I first need to I need to close up this bottom piece. Easiest way to close up that bottom piece is to do a planar surface and to pick the area where you want it, which I just did. And now we have that planar surface. So we are hollow at this point, okay, because that's what surfaces are. We're hollow. Actually, before I turn this into a solid, I want to put some fillets in here. And actually, I can put the fillets in there after we turn it into a solid. So let's go down that path. All right. I'm going to knit. And when I knit, I'm going to pick all the parts, which, because I'm in cross-section view, it maybe is hard to know that I picked them all. But I did. And I'm going to tell it to merge entities and create a solid. And when I do that, it just created a solid for me in this area. So great. Now I'm just going to put in, now I got to go back to my, not surface features anymore, but my solid features. And I need to put in a fillet. And I'm going to put in a fillet here, which is not going to be 10 millimeters. And I'm in the wrong units again. So let's make this down to 1 millimeter. Accept that. And let's come over here and switch to inch pounds, which is where we want to be. Save this. Let's go in and make sure our fillet is a good number and not a crazy number. See, this is a crazy number. So we're going to get to 40 thousandths of an inch. And this is our strain relief. So by the way, this is the right time for us to come in here and say, we're almost done with this part. So we're going to edit our material. We are going to make this not a steel, but a rubber. And we are going to, we're just going to do this butyl, okay? And this is going to be my strain relief. Let's save this. Now we come in here into our master model demo assembly, which is what I think we were at, okay? And if we turn off our master model, we will see only our strain relief. But if we turn this on and we turn this on, we will see that we have our left side, our right side, and our strain relief. Let's go make the cone happen. And how are we going to make the cone happen? We're going to do it exactly the way we've done everything else so far. So let's get our master model back on. Let's save this just because maybe we haven't done that for a little bit. We're going to come in here and insert component, and it's going to be a brand new component again. And we are going to make this equal to the cone. All right, now I need to select the face where I want to orient the part. I'm going to select the same face. Now I'm editing the cone. And in editing the cone, I want to just do the same exact thing. Offset surface, set this thing to equal to 0. Hide those things. And we want to get all of this. Okay. That's it. We're done with this. Come over here, we rebuild. We're going to hit save. Save. We're going to come in here into our cone, and we're going to open our cone part. And we're going to rebuild so that my graphics card will deal with it. Okay. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to clean up these corners that are right in here. And to do that, I'm going to put some fillets on there. But you can't fillet surfaces that are not knit together. So first thing I'm going to do is knit my surfaces together. Okay. Maybe I'm already knit together. Okay. I guess I'm already knit together. We're going to fillet. See if this will fillet. Great. We need to get down to, okay, we're again in the wrong units. So we're just going to take some random thing for a second. We're going to come in here and switch our units to what we want them to be. Guess I was not being very careful about this, and I should be more careful about this. Now we can come in here and we can edit our fillet. And we want our fillet to be let's go with not that. Let's be bigger than that. 4 times bigger than that. That's pretty giant. So let's knock it down just a little bit. Great. Now let's get more than one edge. Let's get that edge. Let's get this edge. And let's get this edge. I'm putting these fillets straight in the surface model, not in a solid, but in the surface model. Okay, self-intersecting, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's try changing this size. Will it accept this one? Okay, we're gonna just go with that smaller size for now. Great, so now we are knit together, and if we are knit, then we can do a thicken, and we wanna thicken inward, which it's trying to do, but we don't wanna be anywhere near that big. We wanna be 40 thousandths of an inch. And we have now thickened this. That's great. This is also a great time for us to come in here and specify our material. Our material that we're going to use for this one is going to be a plastic. Do we see plastics in here anywhere? Plastics. We're going to do PCABS. PCABS is transparent, but that's not the actual color we want. We're going to come in here into our appearances, and we are going to find textured plastic, textured, and we're going to go to my favorite texture, which is this one, the MT11010. We're going to apply that to the whole body, and we're going to accept that, save. Okay, now we're going to go back into here, and it's going to tell us we need to rebuild, which is absolutely fine. We're going to hide our master model because we don't need it anymore, and we are going to look at our left side, right side products. Now, if we wanted to see this thing in an exploded view, we would just have to create ourselves an exploded view, a new exploded view. Let's take this one, pull it out just a little bit, and accept that. Now let's come in here and get a new, let's add a step. You must select a component, excellent. Let's get this one. Let's pull this one down a little bit. Excellent. And let's do, I'm not doing this very efficiently. I'm going to add a step by taking this guy and pulling him out just a little bit. And we say done, done. And this is our exploded view of the product. It is all driven by the master model, which we created by using the sketch picture. These are all thickened parts, and we have our exploded view, and we have our non-exploded view, and that is our product. Let's talk for just a minute about what would be next with something like this. So we have got all the basics now. We need to get in and add buttonholes in here. We need to add a button for the trigger. We need to get a proper interface between these two parts. So that means I'm going to just go in and work with solids now because these are all solids. I will need to go in and create some ribs and some other internal features to hold buttons in place. And I will need to create probably some ribs to hold a motor in place. I'll need to create a fan that's going to be attached to the motor to create the airflow. And I need to create a grill that goes back here. But I'm just going to build all these now, all of these features in these separate parts. And how am I going to do that? I'm just going to open up my left side. And in my left side model, I'm just going to start adding ribs, adding tabs, adding screw bosses, adding other features. And doing it that way, I will guarantee that my left side will always match my right side, and that my strain relief will always match the body, and that the nozzle will always match the front. And that's how that goes. All right, hopefully that was helpful for you. I wish you the best as you try it yourself. In this video, we basically went through doing it 4 separate times. So there's some repetitiveness in there. that's going to give you a chance to see how this really works. Okay, thanks everyone. See you in the next video.